Okay, we are adjusting things. We are live. Excuse any glare on my glasses. I need them to see. So, hi guys. Welcome to our first book club live stream ever. I'm really excited. If you've been to any of my streams before, if you've watched the recaps of any of my streams before, I'm usually a little all over the place. I have notes this time though, so hopefully we'll be able to keep things a lot more linear. I am going to give us a few minutes to let a couple of people into the stream, get the word out and going. Yeah. I try to do, Prince Crazy says, I've never been on a stream, been thinking about, every time I read, especially a vampire romance novel, I can't help but thinking Anne Rice. I'm really excited to do this book club live. And as people are coming in, if you've read the book that we're going to be talking about, let me know. If you haven't, that's totally fine. We're still going to do the whole, here's the summary, here's my thoughts, spoiler-free little bit, and before we go into like full discussing it. Just for people who haven't read it, who are kind of on the fence, didn't know, wasn't sure. So yeah, if you have read My Soul to Keep, drop a comment, let me know. And we're just going to give people a couple of minutes to pop in. I'm going to make sure it is all over the social medias. Again, if you are not following me on social media, why not? Also, this live stream will be uploaded to the channel after it's done. I always upload the VODs of the live streams so that anyone who can't be here can still watch, enjoy, leave comments. I always love that. It's so much fun. So let us quickly make sure everybody on all the socials knows that we're going live. And again, follow me on social media. I will put my social medias in the description of this video. Okay. Okay. Just double check. Alrighty. So it looks like I got a couple people in. How is everybody? Is everybody doing well? Is everybody having a good end of February? Is anybody else ready for the month to be over? Because I know I am. Shortest month of the year, and it's not going by fast enough. So, I'm sorry to hear you're not doing well. Hopefully, we can hang out and have some fun and make it a little bit better. Okay. Make sure I have everything. Oh. Okay. Yes, I am subscribed to Maven. I first, was introduced to her on the channel Awesome, kind of their overall group of people. But yeah, I really like Maven. I like what she does. I like her style. She seems like a really nice person. Elisa, she seems really nice. I really appreciate what she does for the vampire fandom, I guess. I don't know what they call it, the fandom or the community, whatever. But just the fact she's been doing this for as long as she has been, and she's still going strong, and she's just making incredible content. I love Maven. So if anybody doesn't know, Maven of the Eventide, Like, what are you doing? Check her out. So, and I follow her on Twitter. So yeah, I really like Elisa. She's a really great content creator. One day. Okay, we're 5 minutes in, so we are just gonna get going with My Soul to Keep. So again, welcome everybody who is here now, everybody who's going to come in later, and everyone who's just going to watch the VOD. I am actually going to take these off because the glare is bothering me. So, as I was gearing up for this live stream, I also noticed that we have passed 50 subscribers on the channel, which is really exciting. And it pretty much happened overnight. We gained like 3 subscribers overnight, which was so cool. Which also kind of segues into if you've seen my Vampire in Brooklyn review, if you haven't, go watch it. But if you have, I announced at the end of that video that once the channel hits 100 subscribers, I am going to be doing a giveaway. I'm going to be picking a random subscriber and sending them a little gift bag of vampire goodies. It's going to be real fun, real cute. So make sure you're sharing the videos. Like the videos, it gets them up there in the YouTube algorithm, and it really helps little itty bitty baby channels like me. So if you know anybody who is a fan of an actor that I talk about, or a director that I talk about, or anything, please share the videos, and let's just get some more people to hang out with, because hanging out with people is cool. Oh, that's really sweet. It's a slow process gaining subscribers, starting out on YouTube and doing it with such like a niche community, because the horror community is really, really big. It's really vast. I absolutely adore the horror community, and inside of that is like the monster community, and then inside of that is the vampire community. So, and again, this is something that Maven, that Elisa has been doing for a long time, is getting vampire stuff out to more people, and that's also my goal, and that's why I'm doing this whole Vampires for Everyone theme this year, just to get more people involved in this community and this lore and this just good stuff that we have. So, because vampires are so much fun, there's so many things you can do with them. Even I was watching the Creepshow TV show with my roommate last night. Fantastic different vampire stories in that TV show. It's on Shudder. Check it out, it's so good. But let's see. So again, everyone who's here, have you read My Soul to Keep? If you have, let me know. If not, again, totally fine. I just, want to know going forward. So, the next thing I want to talk about is, with the ending of My Soul to Keep, that's totally fine. You don't have to have read it. But I am going to discuss some spoilery things at the end, like I always do. So, My Soul to Keep is done. And with its finishing, we are moving on to our next book, which is going to be Emmanuel's Veins by Ted Decker. I've heard some kind of mixed reviews about this book. Even the author himself is like, hey, this book isn't for everybody. But I'm going to give it a shot because it seemed to have pretty good reviews, leaning positive. So we are going to switch our Vampire Girl bookmark over to Emmanuel's Veins. And this is the book that we are going to be reading for next month. So get yourself a copy. It's on Amazon. There's an audiobook version. You can get it at Barnes & Noble. Go to Barnes & Noble and support your local bookstores. We love that. But next up is Emmanuel's Veins. So, hello, my friend Rock Tots. It's good to see you. All right. So let's talk about My Soul to Keep. Now, anyone who tries to come at me for the pronunciations, I'm using the pronunciations they use in the audiobook, so blame them. So, My Soul to Keep, I'll pull it back up, It was released in 1997, and it is written by Tananarive. I have been saying her name wrong the entire time that I've been promoting this book and talking about it, but I'm pretty sure that it is pronounced Tananarive. That's how they pronounce it when they're reading the audiobook, so that's how I'm going to pronounce it throughout the video. I'll probably slip up, but I am no stranger to long names with lots of vowels, so it is the first book in the African Immortal series. It's followed by Living Blood and Blood Colony, and so it's a trilogy. So if you really like My Soul to Keep, make sure you check out the other books. Tananarive was actually nominated for a Bram Stoker Award for My Soul to Keep. And if you don't know what a Bram Stoker Award is, it's literally my life's goal. It is an award for superior writing in horror fiction. So she was nominated for that for My Soul to Keep. And it's also not her first Bram Stoker Award nomination. So I believe she had one for her first book as well, which is really cool. And then in addition to being a writer, Tananarive is also a professor at UCLA. She teaches a class in Black horror centered around the movie Get Out, which is one of my personal favorite horror movies. Such a great movie. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Jordan Peele has a new movie coming out this year, so start with Get Out and then go through all of his other movies. But she teaches a class about that movie, and then she's also I believe it's an adjunct professor of creative writing at Antioch University. So really cool, really fantastic resume, and her contributions to both the writing community and the horror community and the Black community. Fantastic woman. She's also featured in Horror Noir, which is a documentary that I mentioned previously. If you watch my Blackula review, she is featured in that documentary. She is great. I love listening to her talk. There is also an audiobook version of My Soul to Keep on Audible. It's narrated by Peter Francis James. So good. So good. So good. And the audiobook that's on Audible also includes, at the very end, an interview that Tananarive did about the book. So listening to that at the end of reading the book was just so cool, because she talked about her inspirations and where the idea came from and how it kind of developed from a poem into some short stories into what became the African Immortal series. Really, really cool. Some of those things she said during her what media? That's not words. Yeah, Get Out has become really, really popular. It won I believe an Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay. It is, no joke, it is one of the best psychological thriller films I've ever seen in my life. Just Peele's direction, the cinematography in that movie, just the performances and the writing, such a great movie. So yes, Get Out, give it love. It deserves more. So some of the reasons that Tananarive said that she wrote My Soul to Keep was actually she was fascinated by what the psyche of an immortal person would look like through the centuries, and how they would be affected by all of the death around them and any pseudo death that they would have to go through themselves. And she was also just fascinated with the concept of death, which, oh my gosh, there is so much death in this book. And horror can sometimes hit you with some cheap deaths. Good horror usually doesn't, but there is a lot of cheap death in horror. Not in this book. And we'll talk about it more when I give you my thoughts, but the deaths in this book are so palatable and so effective. And honestly, I would say it's not for the faint of heart, but I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm getting excited. I'm so excited. This is what I have to deal with when I'm editing my videos, is all of these little things. So let's see. Getting my thoughts back together. How's everybody out there? Are you guys still with me? You guys running for the hills yet? Okay. I just am such a huge Tananarive fan. Now, the more I learn about her, the more I'm just enamored with her. I'm a huge fan. Okay, so what is My Soul to Keep about? Since it looks like we've got 2 in the chat right now that neither have read the book. So what is My Soul to Keep about? I think it would be best. Usually I write my own summaries of the books, but for this one, I kind of just want to read the back of the book because I think this book is kind of hard to talk about in a linear way, at least for a spoiler-free summary. So, according to the book jacket, it's not a jacket, it's the back of the book. Anyway, so it follows 2 characters, Jessica and Dawit. Jessica is an African-American journalist. As ambitious as she is bright, she is chasing the biggest story of her life, a story that strikes closer to home than she knows. Dawit is an immortal, whose ancient thirst for wisdom leads him to break the first commandment of his kind, not to fall in love. Together, they are about to pay the ultimate price for their ambition and their desire. The first time I read that, when I was looking up books to cover this month, it wasn't super like, this is the plot of the book. And in one of my writing classes, because I'm in college and I hate it, but we learned how to create kind of this blurb for our projects. And when it doesn't follow the formula, which I appreciate because I hate formulas, but it gives us just enough to at least get me intrigued. But after reading the book and rereading the summary, it's the best way you could describe the book. Because the book is not told entirely linearly. It jumps around a bit. It jumps between Dawit and Jessica's perspectives, and then a couple of other shorter segments of other people's perspectives. But they're the main 2, and I love them. And it just gives this book, it keeps the pace of the book going, because this isn't a huge, like, linearly plot-driven book. It's very, very character-driven. And it's kind of just how these 2 characters journey through this world. It's so good. It's so good. Anyway. Okay. Let me give you some quick thoughts, and then I'll give the book a rating, and then we'll kind of move into more like in-depth things. So, here we go. I apologize. Reading My Soul to Keep was entrancing. I was absolutely enamored, and this was not a book that I could predict the outcome of. Also, if anything weird happens with the stream, let me know in chat. But I was in love with this book the second that I picked it up. Oh, something else real quick. Sometimes when it switches perspectives, or when when there's a section that takes place like in the past, it'll switch to first person, or not first person, it'll switch to present tense, which threw me off in the beginning. Got used to it really quick. So just, if you're not a person who doesn't, if you're someone who doesn't like present tense, like I don't like present tense in writing, it's very rare in the book. So keep reading. I promise, it's good. My Soul to Keep is a very heavy novel. I wouldn't say that it's so. I wouldn't say that it's bleak or that it's tough to get through, but it deals with some pretty tough themes and tough scenes. Dawit especially has gone through so much in his immortal life, and we get to see snatches of moments in time from this. And it just makes us sympathize with him and just want him to have it easy for once. And just, we see him go from this normal person to someone who's completely apathetic to the world, to someone who opens himself up only to get incredibly hurt again, to closing himself off. And then finally, when he finds the person that he is currently in love with, we see his desperation not to lose it again. And it's just so heartbreaking. But it's done in such a way where Dawit is also kind of like, do we want him to win? Do we not? Like, because he does some pretty horrible things in the book, but at the same time, we know everything that he's going through and everything he's gone through and everything that we see the fear in his character. And honestly, he is one of the most complex characters that I have read in a long time. So if you like characters that are incredibly psychologically complex, if you like stories of people kind of dealing with their trauma, Dawit is the guy for you. I just want him to be happy, man. That's all I want in life. Let's see. Another thing this another thing this book tackles a lot is knowledge and the price for knowledge and what we're willing to do, and the people we're willing to step on in order to get that knowledge. There are moments where Jessica risks a lot of things for knowledge. She's a journalist, so it kind of comes with the territory. Dawit, he becomes an immortal in the pursuit of knowledge. Lots of really, really fascinating things. Before we go into more spoilery stuff, I'm going to give you guys a quick rating of the book, and there was something else. I can't remember. It'll come back to me if it's important. So, welcome. I see we have, oh no, we still have 2. I can't see without my glasses. We're good. It's fine. So quick rating, and then we will jump into more discussion-y stuff. If you guys have questions, feel free to ask them. If you guys want me to, I don't know, if you have questions for me, go ahead and ask them. I just want to chat. We're kind of informal here today. We want to chat, we want to hang, so feel free to interrupt me at any point. It may take me a second to see because I'm blind without my glasses on. Cool. So, for My Soul to Keep by Tananarive, I give this book a rating of 5 out of 5. I am definitely going to check out the rest of the African Immortal series. Oh, that's what it was. I don't want people going into this book expecting fangs and blood drinking, because it's not that kind of story. And would I still class this? Ooh, almost died. Would I still class this a vampire novel? I would say yes, because blood is how one is turned into a vampire. Not necessarily through ingesting blood, but through, well, I guess. Anyway, now this is for another section of the video. But I wouldn't go in expecting super strength and fangs and those kinds of vampires. These are, like Dawit says, they are scholars, they are immortal, and they kind of just belong to their own society that wants to be left alone to learn everything that there is to learn and be hermits in the middle of Ethiopia, I guess. So, like I said, I give this book a 5 out of 5 rating. I was in love with it. It could be a little heavy sometimes, but that just made me care more about the characters and want them to be together and want them to succeed. Some content warnings. There is sexuality in this book. It's never like explicit. It's not like, I need to clear my browser history after reading this. but there are some sexual scenes in the book. There is some language in the book, and there is a lot of death in the book. Lots of characters dying and describing their death in detail. So if you find that kind of thing disturbing, then maybe don't check this one out. But if you're kind of fascinated by it morbidly like I am, this is a really great example of that. It's a really great example of that. So, like I said, I'm also going to be checking out the rest of the African Immortal series, and those other books are Living Blood and Blood Colony. I'm really excited to keep reading, and I also want to check out Tananarive Dew's other works, and I'm just excited to keep following her work and her career. So I am a huge fan. Hello, everyone who just came in. We're kind of wrapping up the spoiler-free section of the video. But leave some comments if you want me to, I don't know, mention anything. All you need to know right now, this book is amazing. It has some sexy bits and some scary bits. Check it out. 5 out of 5 rating. Check it out. Check out Tananarive Dew, her other works, her series, her in horror noir. Check her out. She's amazing, and I love her. All right. We are actually also going to move into the discussion part of the video live stream. I'm so new to this. I'm so new to this, guys. I appreciate y'all's patience. Yes, this is blood. You don't even have to ask. Of course it is. Okay. So, I wish I knew how to put up on the screen that there are spoilers abounding, but I'm not that good at live streaming yet. So we're just gonna go with it, and anybody who pops in, you're getting a few spoilers. I'm not gonna make this live stream too long either, just because it is the first. We're testing the waters here. We're experimenting. We're having fun. Okay, here we go. Let's talk spoilers. So, when we are first introduced to the very first thing we read in the book is the prologue, where this mysterious man breaks into a nursing home, basically, and he is there to visit this old woman who is basically on the verge of death. And he is this young, handsome man, and this ends up being Dawit, who is one of our main characters. And he is there to visit this old woman who is actually his child, and it's the first taste of how sad this book is going to make me. Because right off the bat, if you don't skip the prologue, I think it's a prologue. I don't think it is the prologue. Anybody who skips prologues, I don't understand you, but read the prologue, because it's a very, very great taste of the themes of this book being, is it right to interact with mortals just to watch them die? Is it fair to the immortal to, be alone? Is it, it's just, okay. Sorry. So this opening gives us a taste of what's to come, and then we immediately cut to Jessica's perspective. Jessica is our other main character. She is a journalist, I think, for the Miami Herald, because that's also the newspaper that Tananarive Dew writes for, which I really like. So, but she is a reporter in Miami, and she's a pretty great reporter in Miami. She's very well respected, and she is, she's really out there fighting the good fight, So she is married to a man named David, who is Mr. Perfect, as her friend Peter likes to tease her about. David is perfect, and everybody knows, and everybody's jealous. And they have a 5-year-old daughter named Kira. Jessica and David do. Now, since we're in the spoiler-free section, David is actually Dawit. David is the name that he has taken currently, and that he is living under. And this book is essentially David trying to keep his immortality a secret from Jessica and Kira, while Jessica is too smart to really be taken for a ride the whole time. It does take her some time to figure some things out, but once she does, she is quick to action, and she's very conflicted on the action that she should take. So, because despite everything, and everything she learns, David is still her husband, and she still loves him, and the things that David does, or I'll call him Dawit, the things that Dawit does to preserve his identity is extreme. And the first time we see him doing something to preserve this identity, it's difficult as the reader to watch, because we're like, I really want to root for you, but you just did something really, really, really terrible. And he does other terrible things. He kills people who really don't deserve to be killed, but it's in order to protect his secret. But is his secret worth protecting at this point? I mean, he's lived and loved so many women, and he's fathered so many children. What makes Jessica and Kira so special? Why can't he just abandon them and move on? And that's another thing that I really like that this book does well, because a lot of complaints with vampire fiction, especially vampire romance, is, well, why this girl and why now? Why is this ancient, all-knowing being in love with this one, twiglet woman? And Tananarive handles that in a very, very interesting way by sharing with us some of Dawit's past relationships, and honestly making us care about those relationships just as we care about Dawit and Jessica's. The one that stands out in my mind, and one of my favorite parts of this book, it's so difficult, but we see Dawit traveling through time periods, basically. And we see when he first becomes immortal, and we see him when he's in America during the 1800s. When he's in America in the 1800s, and we all know what was going on in America in the 1800s. And so we see Dawit fall in love with this woman named Adele. And they both meet on this as slaves on this plantation. And it's just so heartbreaking to even think about. They try to escape, and they both end up getting caught and killed. And Dawit, the first time he even reminisces about this is he remembers hanging in the tree. And this is going to be explicit. I'm so sorry. So if you want to leave and come back, that's totally fine. This book, like I said, it can get kind of heavy. But he remembers dying and then coming to again, and then dying again, and then coming to again, and then dying and coming to, all the while he is hanging in this tree next to the woman that he was so in love with. And every time he comes to after dying, that's what he sees, is her. And then he just allows himself to die and come back and die and come back and die and come back over and over again, until he can't do it anymore, and he finally gets himself free. But it's just that singular scene of him reliving that just made the rest of his character kind of fall into place for me, because we see what he's lost, and we see what that loss did to him for a long time. Even the next woman that he had a family with, he couldn't give himself to the family, and he just kept trying to find different escapes because he still wasn't over Adele, which, I don't blame him. God, it was, and then that tragedy between him and Adele also feeds into his desire to protect Jessica and Kira with like all that he is. Just a beautiful, beautiful example of what trauma does to a person, but also that recovery is eventually possible. Something else that I love about Dawit is how fragile he is. He is an incredibly sensitive character, and he is a man who is not afraid to cry. And honestly, as an immortal, he's, who cares anymore? He's lived enough lifetimes as a strong warrior who shows no emotion. But he is so vulnerable with Jessica, and he's not afraid to cry in front of her or his daughter. And he shows, sympathy towards animals. And he's just a really, really fantastically written character. Especially where we don't get a lot of male characters that are like that are so willing to be vulnerable. And so I fell in love with Dawit as a character. I really recommend the book. It's so good. So yeah, if you're in the mood to get traumatized along with him, check it out. Okay, let's see what else. Another great theme that this book tackled really well was love and the pain and pleasure that comes with it. So along with Adele and Jessica, Dawit had this best friend named Mahmoud, and Mahmoud was, hello FedEx truck, I will wait. Thank you. Mahmoud was a soldier along with Dawit, I believe in the 1500s. 1400s? It might have been the 15th century. But they were soldiers along with each other, and then they became immortal alongside each other. And so they traveled all over the world together, and they spent hundreds and hundreds of years as companions until they eventually split off. And then Mahmoud becomes a searcher, which is a member of their community who go. We'll table searchers for a later date. Anyway, for later in the video. So they split off, and Mahmoud becomes a searcher, and Dawit ends up being one of the people that Mahmoud has to search for and bring back to the colony, which is I didn't write it down. Where I can't remember what. Sorry, reviewing my notes. Not even my notes, I'm reviewing the book. Lalibela, that's what it is. And it was the 1500s when they became immortal. So Mahmoud has to come and bring Dawit back to Lalibela, which is like their mother city. Home city? It's not their homes. I digress. Thank you for your patience. And when they reunite in the book, they haven't seen each other for a couple of hundred years. And so it's a very tense reunion. Well, I guess it's only been like 70 or 80 years, maybe, since they've seen each other. But it's been a while. So Mahmoud comes to bring Dawit back, and Dawit is like, please, can't you just give me a little bit more time with my wife and my child? I have more time before anybody is going to notice that I'm not aging, and that before anybody suspects anything, please, can I just have a little bit more time? And Mahmoud is like shocked that he's wasting his time with humans, because these mortal people are he sees them as so far below them that he just cannot fathom the connection that Dawit has. Even though Mahmoud himself was human once. They've just spent so long as immortals that humanity is kind of gone. And that's really painful for Dawit to deal with. Like he hasn't dealt with enough. Poor Dawit. But that relationship that Dawit and Mahmoud have is it's very it adds a lot of great tension and a lot of great emotional tension to the story. So maybe it's just me. Maybe I just love stories about best friends at odds, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, we talked a little bit about that. Reviewing my notes again. Hello. See, this is what editing me has to see. So, let's see. Is there anybody? We have 3 people in the chat. Has anybody? I know Prince Crazy and Rock Tarts have not read the book. Has our 3rd person in chat read the book? I don't know who it is. I can't say it. And if not, then we will, because I wrote down a couple of theories that I have for the rest of the series, and I wanted to hear anybody else's theories. So, I don't feel like I've talked about Jessica enough. Jessica is a great character. She is a strong female character, and not like a stereotypical one, but she's like legitimately strong and clever and resourceful. And she tries to do everything she can to keep Kira safe. Even with her own conflicted loyalties, she doesn't know whether or not to trust David or not. She's fantastic. Her family is fantastically written characters. I love the relationship Jessica has with her younger sister Alexis. It kind of reminded me of the relationship I have with my sister, so that's always, that's a lot of fun. There are some great lines and moments that tie into Jessica's experience as a Black woman in her profession and how people will view her as she's trying to escape the things that are happening, and just these perceptions that are placed upon her and Dawit, or David. She doesn't know his name is Dawit. So there's a lot of great stuff there that I'm not qualified to talk about, but it's really, really good, really interesting. Lots of great lines. So check that out. The last thing we'll talk about is the vampires, and I'm kind of using that term loosely. They never refer to themselves as that in the book. They just call themselves immortals. But since they're born from blood and they're immortal and they can't die, I'm calling them vampires. So the way that the vampires in this book are created, there is a man named Khaldun who is kind of like the overseer. I don't want to call him a priest because I guess he's kind of like a priest. But he is the one with all of the knowledge, and he's the one that people travel for miles to hear him speak, and they teach him to read it. And he teaches people to read and write. He teaches people about the stars. He's like, we'll call him a teacher. Khaldun is this incredible teacher that people travel from all over to learn from at Lalibela. So Khaldun lives in Lalibela. And then Mahmoud and Dawit go there to see him speak. And Khaldun offers all of them something incredible if they will just stay with him the night and not leave no matter what they see. And then they all agree, and Khaldun kills himself in front of them. Very bloody, very gory, gross, squelchy, gooey, ooey ickiness. Dawit and Mahmoud end up staying, as well as a few other people, and then by morning, Khaldun is healed. So, he is completely okay, he was dead, and now he's not. And so everybody is like, how? And Khaldun claims to have the blood of Christ that was taken after he was killed on Calvary on the cross. And he claims that he was there when blood was taken from the body, and he drank some of the blood, injected, consumed. I can't remember exactly how they put it, but he has the blood of Christ in him, and it is known as the living blood because the blood never went cold after Christ was dead. I'm getting ahead of myself, sorry. The blood was cold, and then after 3 days, the blood became warm again. So when Christ was resurrected, so was the blood that they had taken from him. So ingesting the living blood is what makes people immortal. And that's basically it. Now, Khaldun has created this society, basically, of immortals, where he is the leader, he makes the rules, and everybody follows the rules because they don't want to upset Khaldun because he's a pretty chill guy so far. I'm sensing a little something sinister, but maybe I'm just cynical and don't trust people. I don't know. But Khaldun, everybody in all the immortals have to report back to Lalibela, to Khaldun. And then for any, is it life brother? I think they refer to each other as their life brothers. Any of the immortals who stray from Khaldun and decide to live among the humans, eventually the searchers are sent out to get them and bring them back to Khaldun to avoid their secret getting out, because that's like their biggest covenant is do not reveal the secret, and you know, we have to keep ourselves safe because humans are destructive. Who would have thought? And all the immortals want to do is learn and gain knowledge, which to me is a great excuse to be a vampire. So but that is how the vampires in this world came to be. That is what Dawit is. And we learn through the course of the book that Khaldun is not the only one who can change people into vampires. There is a ritual involved that you have to perform, but anyone with the lifeblood can do it. Because once you are resurrected as an immortal, your blood is now also living blood. And without even having to turn anybody into a life brother, your blood can also be used to heal, like, wounds. Really interesting. Raises a lot of great moral questions. Like, especially in the very last chapter of the book, we see some moral questions being raised. So, yes. Okay. I think we are actually going to call the live stream there. Does anybody have any, like, parting thoughts, or like, yeah, the book sounds good, or like, whoa, I couldn't follow a single thing you said? Let me know. Like I said, the VOD of this, the VOD of this live stream is going to be posted on the channel, so anybody can rewatch. You guys can check out the first part of the video, which is a spoiler-free summary and my spoiler-free thoughts of the book. Thoughts, scrambled ramblings, same thing. Again, we just passed 50 subs. We're almost at 100. Almost. I want to get to 100 really bad. And once the channel hits 100 subscribers, we're going to do a giveaway. One random subscriber is going to get a whole bunch of fun vampire goodies. So share the videos. Check out My Soul to Keep by Tananarive. Check out her other works. Check out the whole African Immortal series, because I sure as heck am going to. Check out Horror Noir, where she is one of the contributors. Fantastic book. Fantastic writer. 10 out of 10. Check out My Soul to Keep. Don't forget to get a copy of Emmanuel's Veins for next month. We are doing another book club live stream next month. I'm repeating myself at this point. This book is available on Amazon, at Barnes & Noble, on Audible. So check it out if it sounds interesting to you. I would really love to be able to discuss the books with you guys next month. So, I mean, I'm totally fine to just sit here and ramble. But I would really like to discuss the book. So, get you a copy. Check it out. Yeah, I think that's going to be it for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching and for hanging out with me today. Like I said, I hope you guys could understand anything, because my brain is really scattered sometimes. So, I appreciate all your guys' support, though. And I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys! Oh, come on. Double click the button. Stop.